Okay. Centox, led by global experts, offers the Centa teacher community insights into a classroom practices and professional growth. Register for these sessions and actively participate by sharing your thoughts, joining polls, asking questions, and giving feedback to help us improve them. A very good evening to on behalf of Centa. So we are delighted to you will join us today for Centa's webinar series for teachers. Today we have a session on the topic linguistic diversity in the classroom. So we are excited to announce that today's facilitator is Uma Venkataraman. Welcome, Uma ma'am. Ms. Uma
Thank
Venkataraman
you.
brings over 24 years of experience teaching senior secondary students. She holds a postgraduate degree in history, a graduate degree in economics and business administration, and a diploma in human rights. She is widely traveled and has mentored students during model UN sessions and educational trips to prestigious destinations like Boston, Geneva, and NASA in Florida. Our diverse background and global exposure enrich our teaching approach, inspiring students both in and outside the classroom. Welcome again to our esteemed facilitator. So,
Thank you.
session over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, is my screen visible? Is my screen visible? Can you please help me out?
Yes, ma'am. Your screen is visible. You can go ahead with the session now.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Team Center. Good morning, good evening. I'm sure that teachers and facilitators would have joined from across the globe. Yes, and welcome to my presentation on linguistic diversity in a classroom. Just one statistical question. Did you know that Papua New Guinea, a small island nation with a population of about 15 million, is the most linguistically diverse country in the world with a whopping 840 languages? So, a small speck of a nation having such a diverse language collection, something we should be, all of you should be really interesting to know, interesting to know about this. And yes, this session that I'm going to take today or take you through today, I must thank Team Center for giving me an opportunity to deliver my speech or my presentation in front of an august audience. And I'm sure there would be a large number of takeaways for all of you. So let me start with this linguistic diversity in a classroom. As is always a session, I'll be starting with the essence of what is linguistic diversity or meaning, followed by the benefits of linguistic diversity in amongst the learners in a diverse language class. And we all know a coin has two sides, right? So definitely challenges that we face, and at the end, to an extent, find out some practical solutions to overcome these challenges. So what is linguistic diversity? It refers to a variety of languages spoken within a community, region, or country. Not necessarily. Today, we are going to talk about the learners in a classroom. So, we will take up this linguistic diversity as a group of students in a classroom who can speak in various languages, with various accents, with various backgrounds, who are there eagerly awaiting the facilitator to deliver that day's lecture. Sounds really good. Sounds really good. Yes? So definitely, there are some advantages for the linguistic diverse class, learners full of diverse language seekers. The first and the foremost, I believe, is the cultural background that they all belong to, the region that they belong to, the community that they belong to, the part of the globe that they belong to. Remember, we are all catering to a global classroom. So definitely we will have learners from across the globe. So the first thing that I would like to highlight is the identification of the cultural roots of the learners in the classroom. Now, when I'm talking about the learners in a classroom, definitely a classroom is somewhere some noises are heard. Learners keep talking with each other. Now, so that means communication, right? Meaningful communication between two learners, or one learner or student wants to convey something to the others. The other is very eager to listen to the friend, his friend or her friend inside the classroom. Any language propagation can happen only through meaningful conversation. Otherwise, like comprehending languages is a very, very big task. And that too in a classroom with diverse learners, every learner eager to give way to the way she or he has been brought up. And you must have heard, one word is put across in the classroom, everyone will have, oh, in my language it is called like this, or we speak like this is the accent that we use, this is the pronunciation that we do. So this is how children vibe with each other to prove themselves that they are the masters of their own language. So that is why I feel that one of the biggest benefits in a diverse learner environment is the communication skills that these children develop automatically. And they're full of confidence. They don't shy away. It is not a created thing or an artificial thing over there. Automatically they start talking, which makes a classroom a vibrant place. So vibrant with the thriving cultural atmosphere, the various languages in the class. So at the end, what are we achieving here? We are achieving an inclusive learning classroom. Inclusivity is the order of the day. Every student, every learner in the classroom is part of the classroom, is part of the vibrant classroom where they are exchanging their thoughts, their appreciations, their remarks, whatever it is, whatever they want to convey. And children have a lot to convey. So this is what is inclusivity. Not a single learner is left out. When no single learners are left out in the class, I believe at the end it is equal dissemination of information to the entire class, thereby making a equitable distributed class. Doesn't that sound very interesting? An ideal class, I would mean. So we can just put it in our mind. A class thriving with cultural backgrounds or cultural identities, cultural roots, with beautiful communication between them, exchanging their thoughts, exchange the reactions, the appreciations. And then for the facilitator, from the point of view of the facilitator or the teacher, it is an inclusive class with where the dissemination of information goes at one go. Now, there is one more thing to it. How is a diverse learning environment so different from another, an environment where we have one common language to deliver? The most important thing is, as I initially told you, children vibe with each other to express their, and they nothing stops them back, nothing pulls them back. Full of confidence, they come out with their own version. Now, while coming out with these versions, there might be some students who may not be able to understand the language of others. Here is where the most important thing of a linguistic diverse classroom comes into the picture. That is, they will find their own innovative ways to actually overcome these challenges. So how I'm narrating a story, or talking about some character in some in a movie, or in a comic strip. So what am I doing? You are not able to understand, maybe through gestures, maybe through some other methods. No, that is left to the imagination of the child. The child or the learner comes out with such an imagination that he or she will start having some sort, they will create, they will innovate. And then they in the process, what is happening is that they're cultivating the skills of problem solving. See, problem solving skills, innovative skills, or creative skills cannot be taught in the class. It is something which is ingrained in the learner through their own problem solving measures. When they create that, they have understood that. So that is the beauty of or benefit of a diverse language learner classroom, which personally, I love to be in such a classroom. Now, when I'm talking about this diverse language learner classroom, and when they are able to comprehend and deliver multiple languages, then we are definitely talking about multilingualism, and the ability to communicate in multiple languages. That is very important. When now each and every one of us here would at least some of you will be able to communicate in more than 2 or 3 languages. Definitely, if this question is put forward, why did you, what was the circumstance that made you study or understand the language apart from your mother tongue? And of course, English is a binding language for the current generation. Apart from your mother tongue, the additional languages that we learn is, if I ask you that, if you put across to you that question, definitely you will say that it's a requirement, it's the need of the hour. So we might have been born in some part of the country or some part of the state and moved to another part of country where the language is not, which is the destination language is not our mother tongue. So definitely, in order to make sure that our daily activities go unhindered, you and me and each and everyone, we will start communicating in the language that we see in the destination, where we're relocated, or where we are going from our area to another area. This kind of relocation helps us to learn the language. Why? The need. I need to go to the grocer. I need to go to the vegetable market. I need to buy the things. So to make that communication on a practical note and on a daily basis easy, we try to study or understand or learn a new language. At least communication language, speaking skills will be something that would suffice maybe for such people who move from one place to another. This is the reason why India is a diverse land with almost 29 states, 7 union territories. And even though we are not talking about the country as a whole, particularly in every state, within a state, north, south, you can see the difference in the pronouncing, the way the people pronounce, the accent that they use, it changes. So we as Indians, we have this special knack of speaking multiple languages. As I just now told you, is something that we all need, and the requirement makes us learn more languages. But we all know that we all are bound by one important language, that is English. Today's classroom, you can see, as most of us congregated here are from the teaching background, I can very clearly understand that we enter the class, we deliver the lecture in a common language, makes a simple process, the process very simple, very easy for both the facilitator as well as the learner. So English becomes the binding language for all of us. Definitely, this English speaking ability came as a result of the British colonialism and imperialism, who ruled our country for more than 190 years. Definitely, the Western education and the English speaking capacity among Indians is something very, very, very special for all of us. But at this point, we cannot forget the kaleidoscope of languages that we already have inherited from our ancestors. We cannot forget that. And that's exactly the reason why linguistic diversity or a diverse language learning class, both from the point of view of the learner as well as the facilitator, is very important. Yes, there are certain areas where multilingualism is essential. There, especially in the airline industry, we all know that most of us have hop from one place to another by flights, and the announcement that comes in the flight that the crew of this particular aircraft can speak these many languages. Something we would have all noted that. UN agencies, the World Health Organization or the UNESCO or the UNICEF, they work across the globe. They require multiple languages to convey the need of these agencies, because they have to work with people across the globe. Large retailers with customers across continents may also require the help of multiple languages. So in these main categories or sectors of the industry, definitely multilingualism is essential. So here comes the poll number 1. How many languages do you speak? If you could kindly answer the poll. If the poll is answered, may I go ahead? I feel the time is sufficient for completing the poll. I'll go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. The poll
Yeah,
is
thank you.
posted. The most answer is 3, ma'am.
Okay, that is
45%.
okay. That is so great. So most of us here, congregated here, who are attending this session are trilingual. Something worth to be appreciated. You can give a pat on your back. Yes. So this is something that we all should cherish. Now, how we started learning these languages, all of you can reminisce yourself. And then now we go ahead. Thank you. Yes. So just a while ago, I was talking about communication. Anything that, especially, I think anything that is told in the class, as facilitators, as teachers, what do we tell in the classroom? Please communicate with me so that I know your problems or whatever it is, right? So it is, so the communication must be two-way. That's very important. That is what we call it as effective communication. So there is a speaker, there is a listener, and the listener's feedback, whatever it is. Maybe if you're giving something to the students, thank you, miss, or thank you, thank you, ma'am, whatever it is. The feedback comes instantly. That is what I meant by effective communication. There are multiple ways of communicating effectively. We can have verbal communication, non-verbal communication, which we see when dancers and others emote in a play or in a drama or wherever. We can see how people emote without even uttering a word. They can emote. Definitely, that is also effective. That does not mean it isn't effective. But what is lacking in a non-verbal communication is that instant feedback. Remember, we are in a situation of instant gratification, right? Something, whatever we have done, whether it's wrong, right, good, bad, whatever is the remark that we have to give, if it instantly comes out, that is that paves the way for our future actions. So similar, written communication, official communications are all in the written format. So what I meant by effective communication is where there is a speaker and an active listener, so that the communication that that happens inside the classroom helps in helps in a diverse language class, definitely. Otherwise it becomes very, no, you can't write something officially in a language that two or three learners in a class might know. How will they emote, or how will they convey the matter to the others? Same goes with the facilitator. How many languages might the facilitator or the teacher know? So in such cases, at least definitely when you talk, when you talk with them, when you communicate with them, and when they actively listen to what you have spoken in the class, definitely you will get the answers. So that is why communication is the primary tool to cope up with the linguistic diversity in a classroom. And please don't forget that the three ways of communication: verbal, non-verbal, and written communication. Yes. So we spoke about communication. We spoke about the identifying the cultural roots of every learner in a diverse language learner classroom, right? We also found out that effective communication between two sets of people is very much essential in the classroom. We also saw that it is an inclusive class, an equitably distributed information class, and we are paving the way. We are creating an atmosphere where learners can create, innovate, and find out skills for problem solving. If all these things are to be done, the first point that I took in my what talk today, the cultural, identifying the cultural root is most important. So we must encourage the learners to embrace the cultural aspects of different languages. Unless and until we know what's the worth of each and every language, we might know, as teachers we might know, but the learners, in order to appreciate the other language, they must know what are the cultural aspects. At this point I would like to talk one thing about history. During the independence days, I'm talking about the Indian independence movement. During the Indian independence movement, the great leader Bhal Gangadhar Tilak, he was a great assertive nationalist leader. The assertive nationalists decided that independence can be achieved from the British only by revivalism. So reviving the ancient cultural roots of our country, reviving the old practices of our country. So through that revivalism, he came up with a very good idea of celebrating festivals. The festivals that were celebrated those days were the Shivaji festival and the Ganapati festival, of course, very prominent in Maharashtra. But now when I'm talking about festivals, it is not based on any religion or anything. It could be any festival. For example, in a school, I'm sure many of the schools do celebrate. As I'm based out of Bangalore, and I'm working in schools in Karnataka. Most of the schools celebrate November 1st as the Karnataka Formation Day. Yes, and this happens in other states also. It's not only in Karnataka. Kindly understand that. It's not only in Karnataka. Across India, it happens. The formation days of that particular state is celebrated. So encourage the children. Make the children take part in all these things. Understand the leaders. What is revivalism? When Bal Gangadhar Tilak spoke about revivalism, he spoke about reviving the akhadas, the Lati clubs. He spoke about, he brought out two magazines, Kesari and Maratha. In each of these cases, what he tried to do was identify the cultural, the roots, the cultural, or make the people of India embrace the cultural roots. That is very important. Back to the culture, back to ancient history, and then revive everything. So that was the method used. So this continues even today. Make the learners part of the dramas or any programs that come up in school. Make them understand through the clubs that are, most of the schools do have art club, humanities club, science club, and make clubs participation in clubs more or less mandatory, or make it very vibrant with plays and songs and other things. So this is the one best way that you can inculcate in them. Oh, this is the language that I speak to. This is the beginning of my language, and today I'm able to converse in that language is due to the understanding. I started embracing the roots of my community or whatever it is, and today I'm able to speak that particular language. So language is very closely intertwined with the cultural upbringing of any of the people in any country. I'm very clear here, one point here, that is, we are catering to a global audience. We are not only catering to one part of the globe, entire globe. Now global learners are part of every classroom. So this could be one way to make them embrace the cultural diversity. Make sure that every festival, today, tomorrow is Holi. I think many schools might be having holidays, or holy themed celebrations might be happening in many schools. So through that, we make sure that the current generation gets involved in all these things and they start embracing our roots. Yes, here comes the second poll. Which form of communication is the most effective? You have three options to choose from: verbal, non-verbal, and written.
Yeah, ma'am. Here is the poll answers.
Okay.
So, verbal communication is 85%, and non-verbal communication is 9%, and written communication is 5%.
Yes. Thank you. And I'm sure that most of you would have understood the importance of verbal communication, where there's an active speaker and a learner. Yes. Thank you. I move ahead. Yes. Now we go ahead with the national education policy, which is in the news these days. The national education policy in India, 2020 in India, mandates that all children speak three languages: their mother tongue, English, and another regional language. Though there are challenges in the implementation of this policy, if implemented in its letter and spirit, this would encourage linguistic diversity to a great extent. I'm sure you'll all agree to this point, that and moreover, today's polls have very clearly indicated that most of you are trilingual. Definitely, I think this policy must get a pat on the back, and yeah, and this is very important that we embrace this national education policy. Yes. Do you think that the three language policy is desirable? Here comes poll 3. What is your opinion on that?
Here is the poll answers. So, for yes is 95%, no is 5%, ma'am.
5%. Okay, so very much understood. I can gauge the mood of today's audience. Yes, so definitely more the languages that we know, more is the freedom to express ourselves with diverse learners. Yes. As I spoke right in the beginning, I spoke about two sides of the same coin. So, on one side are the benefits in a diverse language learning class. On the other side, we do have certain problems or certain challenges. We will not call it as them as problems. There's some challenges. It is up to us as to how and the ways. The how and when we shall overcome these challenges. Ways and means to overcome the challenges. Definitely, going to a foreign country, especially as I'm again and again insisting on a global classroom, as the entire globe is now in our palm. That is the situation today. And many of us travel either for work or for vacations to outside countries within the country. With that being the situation, the current situation, I have given here a situation where you go to a country where English is not understood. So I told you a little while ago that English is a binding language within our country, because that is very easy for us to deliver the lectures and deliver the classes with a lot of parameters around us, completion of syllabus, completion of the work that we have to do within a certain point of time. We teachers and facilitators are bound with this one particular thing. But let us think like this. We are visiting a country where English is not, nobody in that country can understand English. Actually, let me narrate a small situation here. I am also a Model United Nations faculty advisor. So during one such occasion, I had the opportunity to travel to France with a set of students for a MUN program. And initially, we didn't find anything, no problem, because we were under the guidance of a travel, helper and operator who, along with us, came everywhere. In between, when there was a little free time, my students and me, we thought, why, instead of getting hold in the hotel room, why not we go out and explore the area? So we thought we'll go to the nearest metro station, and we wanted to go to another place in that particular city. And so we, along with the students, went to the metro station, but we couldn't find any one signage, no signage in English anywhere. So we were just thinking, we were just going up and down as to what we should do. So we thought we will approach the ticket counter, and the person there could also not converse in English. We were actually, at the brink of giving it up and returning back to the hotel. Another commuter who saw our difficulty came to us and willingly helped us with the English. He knew English, and so he helped us. And the two things are very important. He knew English and he was willing to help us. So we came out of that predicament. This can happen to each and everyone now. We travel a lot, as I told you, due to work or for vacations, of many reasons. So this is one biggest difficulty of not knowing a language. This not only happens across boundaries. Please understand that it can happen within the country, within a state also. But is learning so many languages a solution for this? Very difficult. Very difficult. One person cannot learn so many languages. Earlier, we saw that learning a language, apart from the mother tongue, what we learn is something out of our necessity or out of requirement. We learn one or maximum of two languages. Those learning multiple languages, called polyglots, of course, there's a fascination with them, who has the power of learning so many languages. But this cannot happen with each and everyone. So this is one major problem that I foresaw when I was preparing this PPT. Also, I had went through a lot of writings of other people, and then I could understand that it is not so easy to learn a language, multiple languages. I mean, maybe one or two to an extent we can learn. Yes. So coming to the challenges. So what are the two challenges that we face now? Definitely, the access to learning materials in regional languages is very, very limited. We have to admit that. The volume of books available in English or even in some other languages are huge. But when it comes to regional languages, we don't have enough access to these materials. And as I just now spoke to you about teacher proficiency, how many languages can the teacher learn? apart from whatever she's teaching in she or he is teaching in the class, in the school. See, it is very easy to if we go to a class and start delivering a lecture, we can very easily say, one student said, "No, I'm not able to comprehend, Miss. So can you explain it in my own language?" Suppose the learner comes out with such a demand, maybe there is another teacher in the same school who could help with that student, help that particular student or a learner. But what happens at the end? Subject expertise is also matters. So we as subject experts, whichever subject we are handling in the school, we as subject experts, only we can actually deliver the entire lecture or do justice to the classroom. Definitely, some small words here and there we can or definitely approach the others who might know that language, but that cannot be a solution. And a teacher being proficient in multiple languages is also highly challenging, not a solution for the problem that we are facing with a diverse language learner class. Yes, this takes us to the next poll. Multilingualism is a tool to understand memory skills, cultural understanding, enhances travel experience, all of the above.
Here is the poll answer. So all of the above they mentioned 63%, and enhanced travel experience is 1%, and memory skills is 20%.
20%. Okay. Yes. Yeah, what I meant here was the answer to be all of the above. Thank you. Yes, it's of course your approach and your understanding of the matter. Yes, we go ahead. Thank you. Yes. So we just now spoke about the challenges. And you might all think, okay, in this era of AI, why am I giving so much importance to the challenges? All the languages can be learned in a jiffy. Yes, with what with the apps that is available, that can be loaded in our own mobile phones. What with the translation work that we can see now, and above all the artificial intelligence, or what we call it as AI, which is now ravaging every part of our learning ability. Yes, you would be all thinking that, why am I stressing on the challenges of learning a new language? Yes, definitely. It can be used for language learning. I'm not denying the fact. Definitely, it can be used for the language learning. What with the apps that we have, most of us would have loaded with apps. Especially last week, I saw one of my my colleague from my school is traveling to Japan. Immediately they have downloaded the app to at least to understand the basics, go come, or maybe that basic things when you welcome, and where is it, where is the hotel, or asking those basic questions. Otherwise we get stranded in we should not get stranded in a strange place or a new place. Definitely there are apps, multiple apps available, but can these apps replace the human touch to language learning? Let me put a small situation here. We are all working elsewhere as teachers, as somebody in the education industry. We go out, we speak in English because that is the binding language. We have already seen that it's a one common language that we can use with the major sections of the society. And we come back home. We want to give some errand to our children at home, the little ones at home. We may use English. No, I'm not denying the fact nowadays many households they do speak in English also. But don't you feel that special happiness when you convey that in your mother tongue, and and at the end of which, when you convey that, you are feeling completely satisfied that whatever is the emotion that is attached to that errand or communication or advice or whatever it is, when given in the mother tongue, has has a special feeling in us than giving it in English. Nowadays, schools are using English as the common language. It's the medium of instruction. We, as teachers and facilitators, are using English. It's not that that things cannot be conveyed without English. But just imagine at one point, okay, the little ones we can speak in English. What about our parents, elders at home? We have to. We have the habit of talking to them in our native, in our mother tongue, right? This creates a sort of fulfillment plus that human touch plus that bonding. I feel whenever I give an instruction at home or errands to my children or talk to my parents, out of respect, we speak in our own mother tongue, and at the end of the day, that creates the bonding. No machines can replace the bonding and the human touch. And the way when they reciprocate. And it is also one more tool to make the next generation, our children at home, to make them reciprocate in our mother tongue. Remember, we cannot just like that give away our roots. We have to cherish whatever we handed over by our ancestors to us. We need to be the link between our parents and the next generation of children. So this is no machines, I feel. I think the audience here will agree with me in this particular point that I think no machines can replace the human touch, the bonding, and the listening to how the younger ones at home speak in the mother tongue. So, because throughout the day, they are also conversing in English the way we are, because we are in our workplace, we have no other way, we have to talk in English only. And even in the workplace, I have experienced this. Whoever knows my mother tongue, if I speak to them in my mother tongue, I feel very happy. The listener also feels happy, and I also feel happy, but which I cannot take it to the classroom. So that is one thing that, yes, artificial intelligence to an extent can help us in learning multiple languages, or at least the basics of languages, but it cannot replace the human what you call the fulfillment and touching, learning, listening, reciprocating, and most importantly, bonding. Yes, as I just now spoke to you about the AI and the apps, translations. Does translation help? Yes, to an extent it helps. As I told you, tools for translation are available plenty. Even on mobile devices, you can have these tools. But how effective are the translations? As I'm repeatedly talking about a global audience, I've just given one small example here. A translation seldom reproduces the exact sense of the original text. The French phrase joie d'ouvrir can be translated as joy of living, but that doesn't capture the Gallic flavor of the original jour. Yes. Similarly, this can be replaced with our own examples. As I just now spoke about the bonding that comes through the mother tongue that we use, the bonding that comes up through what the languages that we use inside the home. Now, when we use, as I told you, there's utter sense of, utmost sense of happiness, fulfillment. What I meant by that is the flavor is locked. You must have seen in all these, curry powders and others, tea sachets and boxes. You must have seen this. The flavor is locked. Yes, the flavor of our language or our mother tongue, whatever it is, whatever we follow, is locked. And that flavor cannot be replaced by either AI, apps, translators. Nobody can replace that. Yes, of course, in spite of the above shortcoming, we cannot do away with translation. I fully agree that the modern gadgets, technology, everything is required for us to, when we are traveling, especially for those who are traveling a lot. So, with all these problems that we spoke about languages, how does that affect a classroom? Definitely, as I already spoke to you about a 20th century classroom, one medium of instruction, simple teaching, what with the amount of parameters that we have completion of syllabus, which I spoke to you. Let us assume that a student from some other part of the globe is one day coming to our class, is joining our school and is in our class. At the end of the lecture, the child says, the learner says that, Miss, I didn't understand anything. Can you explain it in my language? We will be put into big difficulties. Yes, what we might opt for at that point of time is maybe some, visual aids. We might seek the help of visual aids. Maybe we take some gestures. But, multiple times giving away might hamper the ones who already have understood the concept, who have already ready to, they have comprehended everything and they are ready to write answers on that particular topic. But then with one child in the classroom, definitely visual aids, as I told you a little while ago, though the flavor is not there, though the human touch and bonding is not there, technology will help us. Similarly, visual aids will help us, because anyway, pictures speak 1,000 words. We all know that. Seeing is believing. We know that. But it cannot bring out the entire gist of what we are delivering in the classroom. So that is one major problem that we face in the classroom with all the, there are also these apps come into the picture, technology comes into the picture. So, yes, so current scenario, as I was already speaking to you about an online classroom, the latest situation is much different. Students join from various countries across the globe, and the lack of understanding, lack of cohesion is there. The teacher is giving out something in the classroom, delivering a lecture. Many of them are not able to understand. Though English is the medium of instruction, English with various accents and various pronunciations are used elsewhere in the globe. I'm talking about a global classroom. Multiple times explaining might be a little difficult for those who have already comprehended. Then you need to divide the class. So it is multiple work for the facilitator. How can we overcome these challenges that is ahead of us in a in a diverse learner classroom? We come to the last poll. Have you ever felt limited by a lack of knowledge of the local language? You can choose between yes and no.
Here is the poll answer. So yes is 74% and no is 26%.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I can understand the vibe of the audience. You are all along with me. Yes, limited lack of local language can create problems for our day-to-day activities. That is the problem. Day-to-day activities might get hampered by this. So now I'm coming to the last section. As I spoke to you, how are we going to overcome these challenges? What are the strategies for effective education to address linguistic diversity? Multilingual instruction and assessment, using multiple languages to instruct students. As I told you, as a facilitator alone may not be able to deliver the entire thing. Take the help of technology to an extent to help the children with these problems. Just a while I spoke about a learner from another part of the globe coming to the classroom. Maybe this technology, or to an extent make them understand, may help. See, it's not a concrete measure, I know that, but practically when you see, this may not work effectively, but to an extent technology or AI, the aid of these technologies can be made to use to make the student or the learner who has come from a different part of the state or region or anything. As I just now spoke about, usage of visual aids and multimedia resources is the order of the day. In every classroom, we do have the whiteboards where we display whatever is the subject being taught in the class. If it's an English class, more of visual aids, more of learning materials. I think not only in English, in every subject it is available many information is available through these multimedia resources. And as I already put in, definitely seeing is believing. There are many students who are visual learners. This might help these visual learners to a great extent when compared to the kinesthetic learners or the active listeners. Yes. The new, new strategy that has come up now is CLIL, Content and Language Integrated Learning. Integrate language and content instruction to promote language acquisition and content knowledge is a latest tool that is being tested nowadays. To an extent, it also helps diverse language learners. As I have already spoken to you about the skills that the students or the learners acquire whenever they are put in some they have to face some challenges, they are put into some difficulty, they know to create, they know to innovate, they will themselves come up with ideas, skills for problem solving. So this is something unique with the current generation of learners. It is always told that learners of today are leaders of tomorrow. But what I feel is that learners of today are leaders of the current situation also. We have to train them as leaders. So it is not only the textbook knowledge that will aid these learners, it is self-experiencing, self-experiential activities and hands-on training activities, self-assessment. Because in a multilingual class or in a diverse language learner class, it is very difficult to assess. The facilitator may not know a particular language. How will she assess? Give the freedom to the student. Self-assessment. So this this boosts their confidence. See, at the end of the day, the situation in our education system was, at the end of the day, there are some numbers in in a sheet called the progress report, right? Now it is not like that. That is, of course, a part of it, just to give an idea what is the score. It is only beneficial to that extent. But that assessment, this freedom given to the students to innovate and create skill, or be ready with the skills of problem solving, must lead and should lead to self-assessment. Only through self-assessment, this confidence can be gained by the learners. And definitely teacher training. And training should be part of the professional development, PD of teachers. It has a huge impact on teachers. When this is given recognition, the extra activities that the teacher does is given recognition. It's a part of the PD process, and this can effectively lead to more teacher involvement in these activities. New methods of teaching like storytelling. Of course, storytelling has now become a very important aspect of teaching. Now, when we come to role play with, in English, the characters in the play, or in history with historical characters. Maybe in science also, the teachers have devised other methods of role play. Role play has now gained a lot of importance with the Model United Nations conferences, where leaders take up the role of global personalities. The model parliament sessions, where students are getting acquainted with what is happening inside the parliament, so political leaders. So these are areas where role play have gained a lot of importance these days. And definitely the hands-on activities. All this can be possible only if the attitude is perfect. I'm sure you will all agree with that. I can train myself as a teacher with multiple languages. You can tell this to students. Students can have self-assessment or create and innovate new ideologies. Everything can happen. But only if we inculcate in them the habit of mutual respect and understanding. That give respect and take respect. We always say that, right? This is very much important in a classroom. and especially in a diverse learning situation, it is important that each and every learner appreciate, respect, and understand the other language. Unless and until that respect is taught to the students or the learners, these, achieving great results may not be possible. So it is very important as seniors take this mutual respect to the classroom through an open stream communication. Now, why open communication is very important? The first and the foremost thing is that we should have a safe classroom. Unless and until the student feels that this classroom is a safe environment, they will not communicate. So that is the first thing that we do. So how do you create a safe environment? By creating that vibe inside the class, that attitude in the class, that whatever emotions are being told to them, they should also reciprocate with them, understand them, respect them, empathize with them, and then only you can create this kind of a vibe in the classroom. So that, I think, this should be the first thing that we do. Storytelling, role play, hands-on activities can all follow. First, create an atmosphere where each and every student is so happy in the classroom, and each and every learner is having that freedom to emote, and they feel that they're in a very safe environment with the facilitator or the teacher. And suppose one student does not agree with the other student, then it is very very important that should also be addressed. It should not be kept subdued. No, no, don't ask such questions. Majority of them are with this. No, that sort of a vibe will not work. Now, what is good and what is bad, they themselves will find out through debates. So, what are the good points in the? I throw a particular subject in the classroom. These are the positives of that. These are the negatives of that. Yes, students, let them debate and find out which is positive and which is negative, which is to be discarded, which is to be included in their day-to-day activities. This will create an atmosphere of total openness in the classroom, and that is what is very important for us to as facilitators, for us to inculcate. So never forget that respect and empathy must be the first thing that we teach children. Yes, definitely. I can talk. I can give this positive point that linguistic diversity and history has many things in common. Just before the beginning of the, during the when I began the session, I spoke about the cultural roots, which is very important. Now, how do we know these cultural roots? We, as in this generation, might know something, but when we're transferring the knowledge to the next generation, I think only very little is transferred. How many amongst us know that there was a language called Manipravalam, which is a combination of Tamil and Sanskrit? And more importantly, it's more interesting to note that this was first used to write Malayalam poems. Nobody even knows. I think only students who have taken Malayalam in their graduation level learn some details on this. But this is something that can give you open a plethora of information for all of us. How many amongst us can decipher the writings on a palm leaf, the manuscripts which are written and kept, right? It is something that over a day we cannot learn. This is something transferred to us. It is handed over to us by our previous generation, and it is very important. As I told you, at no point in time we can compromise. Yes, English is the binding language, and we will continue with that. Yes, of course, that is what is the practical the way of the thinking that's going on. But we cannot lose the information that is already there with us for centuries, for ages. And that is why I find that history and linguistic diversity has a lot in common, has a lot of connection. To sum up, language is not only a medium of communication, but also an effective way of protecting age-old traditions, art forms, dialects, and cultural practices. To end up today's session, in conclusion, I remember two lines of a Tamil song which aptly describe the situation in a class with linguistic diversity. I acknowledge the brilliance of the lyricist. When you understand the language of nature, you do not need the language of the humans. When you understand the language of hearts, you do not need any language at all. Thank you, and I'm open to take any questions on the stage.
That's right.
Hope I have
Thank
completed
you.
within the time allotted. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am, for a very engaging and informative session for our community
Thank
of
you.
teachers. So I'm sure that our teachers have taken a lot of takeaways from this session.
Thank you.
So let me check if there are any questions from the audience side.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. There is the question: does multilingualism actually help us better our grammar in the languages that we speak?
Definitely, I think. The multilingual approach in ESL, English as a second language, is very very important. As I told you again, I'm coming to the point of English, which is a binding language. Yes, definitely. In multilingualism in English is, helps us in various ways. Of course, other languages, in other languages also it helps us, but I've seen the impact most in English.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for your time and thank you for your the wonderful session, ma'am. So,
Thank you, Mr. Jaishankar. Yes, thank you.
okay, ma'am. So if you have registered and filled out the feedback from this session, check your participation record in the app in My Learning section. So I will guide you through the instructions. Step one: open the Center app on your device. Navigate to the ongoing webinar section. Click on Submit Feedback. Please note that this option will be available at 6 p.m. IST. During the end of the session, we will share a 4-digit code required for feedback filling. Enter this code to access the feedback form. So today's code is 2559. Complete the feedback form and you will be able to download your record of participation instantly. This new process was introduced to streamline your experience and ensure your participation is instantly recognized. Thank you so much to all participants for engaging with us today. To register for more such upcoming webinars, please visit the Center app. Good night.